Coming out of Toledo Central Catholic, many question whether or not Dane Sanzenbacher was good enough to play at Ohio State. Well, he certainly proved them wrong with 19 career touchdowns, close to 2,000 yards receiving, both in the top 10 in Ohio State history. He led the Buckeyes in receiving his senior season after 2 years with the Chicago Bears. Sanzenbacher is back in the Buckeye State as a Cincinnati Bengal. Earlier this week, Chris Parks chatted with Sanzenbacher after Cincy's Monday night win over the Pittsburgh Steelers. The fan favorite talks about cracking the Bengals' active roster and what Ohio State means to him.
It becomes a huge part of your life. It's obviously something you dream of when you're a kid and you grow up in Ohio, and to get to live that out, I mean, it's an experience of a lifetime, something you don't forget.
Maybe some of your memorable games, something that kind of sticks out from your Buckeye career.
We had a ton of big games. Obviously, Michigan games stick out. For me, probably senior day at home, my senior year. Just because there's so much that goes into it. Parents on the field, you know, running through all the former players and all that. So that's definitely one that always sticks out in my mind.
Growing up in Ohio, did you ever think you'd play college football in Ohio? Was that something you had your mindset on whenever you were growing up?
No, I didn't really see it as an option. I mean, it didn't really present itself until late in my high school career. You know, football was just something you did because everybody else was doing it. And then it started to become a reality, and then it was just a whirlwind of 4 years in college.
As you got more and more reps as a junior and a senior, you caught more balls, started gaining, I guess, more yards and stuff like that at Ohio State, and then the NFL kind of came into the picture. Just kind of take me through that process, and what was that like as you got towards the end of your senior year?
Yeah, it was kind of the same deal. Not really something I had planned for, but when it presented itself in college, it's something you go after, and you have to put everything into it to make it work. And once you get to this point, it's still a struggle, and it's still an everyday battle for even from rookies to vets to always become better, because you know, if you're not getting better, there's always going to be somebody else coming up behind you.
Talk about your first couple of seasons in the NFL, playing with the Bears, experiences that you learned from there as you now become a Bengal.
I think in those first 2 years, I learned a lot about how to play in this league and be a professional. That I think ways that you can only really learn by experiencing it and going through it. You know, there's a lot more free time. There's a lot more of training on your own. There's a lot more of you taking your own responsibility, and I think you have to go through it, and you have to learn that to become a true professional. And you know, I think I'm still learning that, obviously, but in my first 2 years, I think they were crucial and really good for my career.
Someone that you maybe looked up to in the NFL, maybe growing up as a kid, maybe even still now, maybe you idolize someone that you kind of maybe want to be like, and such like that. Is there anyone maybe kind of like motivated you, maybe someone that kind of, things of that nature, I guess?
Not really, man. I've never really, I mean, obviously I watched football growing up, but I didn't have like a real guy that was, you know, a motivating factor. You know, guys have different things that motivate them and keep them pushing through. I never really had a, you know, player to look up to. That being said, I've played with a lot of great guys along the way. I wouldn't necessarily say I wanted to build my game around these guys, but in my 3 years, I've been really fortunate to be in some awesome rooms and play with some of the best, you know, ever. And it's been awesome.
First year here with the Bengals, talk about this team. You guys are now 1-1. Some of the guys on this team, and just the direction you think this team's going to go this season.
I think we got all the potential in the world. Relatively young team, and I think it's a locker room full of hungry guys ready to make that next step. I think 2 years in a row being knocked out first round of the playoffs really sets the tone for your team. As far as that's not good enough, and you know, that's the standard is no longer, you know, just making the playoffs and want to make a push for the Super Bowl.
Kind of take me through, I guess, the process getting on the field and just getting ready to start making some plays coming up here for the Bengals.
You just got to wait your shot. You know, they dress 46 out of the 53. We've got an awesome receiving room, full of talent. So obviously it's on me to crack that lineup, but at the same time you got to be patient and stay positive and stay focused and confident and all that, because it is part of the game. I mean, it's tough as hell to get into one of these locker rooms and get on the field, and if you let it break you down, then you got no shot.
And then finally, just how blessed are you to be in the NFL and just to have this dream and just to be a part of just something that players dream about growing up?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that gets overlooked a lot because I think, as a player, if you start to lean on that, you don't want to become satisfied. But when you stop and look, it's unbelievable. It's an awesome opportunity. It's something I never thought I'd be able to do. And now that I have that chance, I want to hold on to that and see how far I can go.